Hey, Fernando here. Welcome to the latest B-Ration, our bonus content series. Our next full episode drops Thursday, August 27th, episode 2 of season 3, and it follows Andre Beaumont of the 83rd Infantry Division. Now, one morning, his lieutenant comes over and says, "Beaumont, get the radio. We're going for a walk." So the two of them head out well ahead of their own company, hunting for a vantage point, because German 88s across the canal had been firing on them. They find a farmhouse, crawl up into the attic, and from the window, the lieutenant can finally see the guns. "Start transmitting," he says. But Andre can't reach anybody on the short antenna, so he switches to the 6-foot one and sticks it out the attic window. Somebody over there sees it. I won't reveal what happens, but a couple of minutes later, that farmhouse wasn't standing. Now, in enough accounts from men who fought in Europe, one number keeps turning up, 88. So why was the 88mm gun so feared? The famous German tank killer was designed first and foremost as an anti-aircraft gun. Flak is just short for the German word for aircraft defense cannon. Its development grew out of Germany's effort to get around the military restrictions imposed after the First World War. Krupp owned about a third of the Swedish arms firm Bofors and sent its designers there to work where the treaty couldn't reach. Production began in Germany in 1933. The ground roll wasn't an accident. Every standard German anti-aircraft gun was built to double as a ground weapon. The 88 came with armor-piercing ammunition and a sight for direct fire, and crews were already shooting at ground targets with it in Spain years before the war. The surprise wasn't that it could. The surprise was how good it was. An 88 threw a 20-pound shell at about 2,700 feet per second. That velocity was there to reach a bomber nearly 5 miles up. Point the same gun at a tank, and it gave you a flat trajectory, a very short time of flight, and enough power to punch through anything on a battlefield in 1940. It also made for a terrible experience on the receiving end. The shell flew more than twice the speed of sound. At long range, it could arrive before the sound of the gun that fired it. Your first warning might be the crack of the round going past or the impact. And tanks weren't the only targets. The 88 fired high explosive like conventional artillery, and the time fuse built to burst a shell among bombers could just as easily burst one in the air above infantry in the open. Its reputation grew fast. At Arras in 1940, British Matilda tanks shrugged off the standard German anti-tank gun completely. What stopped them was a scratch line of heavier weapons that Rommel threw together, 105mm howitzers firing over open sights and 88s. Then came North Africa. June 1941, Operation Battle Axe. At Halfaya Pass, 5 88s were dug in among a mixed German and Italian garrison behind minefields. And on the first day, 11 of the 12 British tanks that attacked there were destroyed. The British called it Hellfire Pass. But an 88 could defeat a Matilda's armor past 2,000 yards. In practice, the crews usually held their fire and let the tanks come much closer than that. That's how legends got made. But for all its fame as a tank killer, the 88 stayed an anti-aircraft gun. Thousands were in service by 1942. By August of 1944, more than 10,000, and the great majority of them never faced a tank at all. They were pointed at the sky over German cities. And German flak of every caliber was brutally effective. Of the American aircraft shot down by a known cause in the war against Germany, anti-aircraft fire accounted for about 46%. More than German fighters did. By the summer of 1944, with the Luftwaffe's fighter force gutted, flak was bringing down more American bombers than fighters were. So the reputation was real, but the weapon, remembered as one of Germany's great tank killers, was above all an anti-aircraft gun. Thanks for listening. And don't forget, the next full episode is Andre Beaumont's story, episode 2 of season 3, Thursday, August 27th.